Alright, legends, welcome along to Sceam Me Up Botty. We're into season 2 of the original series of Star Trek, episode 19, A Private Little War. Interesting little episode. The Enterprise is orbiting a planet, Neural, a primitive world that Captain Kirk has visited one time before, and actually stayed with one of the residents of the planet. So they beam down. Kirk and Spock notice a group of villagers apparently preparing an ambush. Kirk is surprised to see them with firearms that the planet shouldn't have at this stage of their development. You know, the Federation is kind of watching from afar on this planet and watching their natural progression, and these firearms are, decades, if not hundreds of years ahead of their time. They're preying on a small group of hill people, one of whom Terry Kirk recognises as the guy he stayed with whenever he was there in a previous visit. Now forbidden by Starfleet's Prime Directive to use phasers, Kirk throws a rock towards the villagers, causing one of the guns to go off, which alerts the hill people of the villagers' presence, and a chase ensues. Spock ends up getting shot at this point. Once back aboard the Enterprise, Spock is taken to sick bay. Sensors detect a Klingon vessel that's also in orbit around the planet, and Kirk suspects the Klingons of having supplied the firearms to the villagers. So Kirk returns with Dr. McCoy, both now in native dress, to investigate what's going on. Both of them are attacked by this creature called a Mugatu, which bites Kirk before McCoy gets a chance to kill it with his phaser. It's venomous, and Kirk is in a bad way here. He could die from this. Kirk can't call for help as the Enterprise is now left orbit to avoid detection by the Klingons. A friendly group of hill people arrive. They take Kirk and McCoy to their camp, where Kirk discovers that his friend Tyree is now their leader. This guy Tyree, he is married to Nona. I'm not even going to try and say the name of her people. She's like a witch woman, like a witch doctor in this community, and she's married this guy. She can cure the Megadu bite. Nona has been urging Tyree to acquire firearms for the tribe. So this woman from the word go in this episode is pushing this guy to be a stronger leader than what he is. We're going to get defeated by this other crowd if you don't pull your finger at your backside, essentially. And she wants to have a bit of power as a leader herself, essentially. So she uses her voodoo on Kirk to try and cure him, which she does. But before she gets there, she sees McCoy using the phaser to heat rocks to keep Kirk warm. She's intrigued and quizzes Tyree about the mysterious guests. Only then she proceeds to treat Kirk. She's pressing Mako root into his injury with her hand, which was also cut with a knife just before the ritual began. At the conclusion of the ritual, she claims that Kirk is now hers, and Tyree explains that according to the legend, he'll be unable to refuse her anything as a result of the treatment. So the injuries of Kirk and her hands are now shown to be completely healed. Like she, blood brother and blood sister, essentially, is what happened here. But after the ritual, the cuts have gone. Kirk quickly recovers at this point, and he asks Tyree about the weapons that the villagers have. Tyree says that he saw them for the first time a year ago and believed the villagers were making them. So Kirk and McCoy decide to sneak over to the village that night on a little reconnaissance mission. Once there, they locate the forge in which they find a chrome steel drill and virtually carbon-free iron, evidence of outsiders' involvement. Soon a Klingon appears with the village leader, who discuss the manufacture. I am too tired to be recording podcast. I do apologise, guys. The tireder I get, the less my mouth and English tend to work. So yeah, this Klingon has turned up. He's been giving these guys the means to build their own weapons, and he's now discussing the manufacture of more improved weapons. Kirk and McCoy jump out at this point, surprise and overpower the two of them, taking a flintlock weapon and escaping with Tyree's help. The next day, Kirk shows the Hull people how to use the weapon, but Tyree refuses to handle it. McCoy also protests at the fact that Kirk is now showing these guys how to use weapons, where, in his view, they should be trying to get rid of the weapons and whatnot. Kirk counters that both warring parties must be on an equal footing if both are to survive. The only way for this planet to get itself back on track is not to take the weapons away, but to even the odds and give the both of them a fair chance at a fight, you know. So it's a weird scenario, and I'll look into some of the reception and production of this episode after we finish talking about it. Nona tries to seduce Kirk with the help of local herbs. You know, she's using her magic on him. Amagato attacks Nona, and Kirk disintegrates it with his phaser. Nona then knocks Kirk unconscious, grabs the phaser and flees with it, and coming upon a group of the villagers, offers them the weapon. Not believing the story that she's telling them, they begin to assault her, and it's tastefully done within the episode. When Kirk and McCoy and Tyree appear, the villagers believe she has led them into a trap, and they end up killing her. The two groups fight, and the villagers run away. Tyree now demands more fire stick weapons to avenge his wife's death. Kirk reluctantly orders Scotty to manufacture and beam down 100 flintlocks for the tribesmen. Scotty questions the unusual order, and Kirk answers 100 serpents for the Garden of Eden. And that's where we close out the episode. It's like, you know, this was a paradise whenever they turned up, and Kirk has now let the snake that's going to drive them out of the garden, essentially. That's where we close out the episode. Fairly dark one. You'd be forgiven at the beginning of this episode thinking that's going to be a bit in the boring side, and for a part of it actually is, but the story that it tells is absolutely brilliant, and that last 15-20 minutes of the episode where you see Kirk going against what you think he's going to do in the episode and actually give weapons to the villagers, to this little group that he stayed with before, to fight the villagers and even the odds and whatnot. Kind of feels a bit out of place, and yeah, a bit unsettling, the ending of the episode, where it's just plain and simple. There's not the usual sequence on the bridge of the Enterprise where you have that little epilogue moment where they're having a little laugh about what happened to them throughout their adventure. In the episode, you just get that little last moment where he orders 100 flintlocks to be transported down for the tribesmen, and when Scotty questions why, Kirk simply answers, send down 100 serpents for the Garden of Eden. Great little episode. Let's look a little into the production and reception of this episode. The episode has been analysed as an allegory for the United States' involvement in the Vietnam War in both the 1997 book Inside Star Trek: The Real Story and 2016 The New Yorker article. Don Engel's first draft of the script had specific references to the Vietnam War, such as Mongolian-type clothes and a character described as a Ho Chi Minh type. Other early ideas included Kirk's friendship with Tyree developing during Kirk's second visit to the planet, and a personal conflict between Kirk and Krell the Klingon. Eugene Myers and Tori Atkinson of Tor.com argue that the episode is sexist in its presentation of Nona, and that the episode, in trying too hard to be an allegory for the war in Vietnam, fails to find a peaceful Star Trek solution to the problem. I don't really agree with the Eugene Myers and Tori Atkinson arguing that the episode is sexist in its presentation of Nona. She is a very, very feminist character if you really look at her in this episode, and she's out for herself and what she wants to do. And it's kind of the complete opposite. And my humble perspective of the episode, these two people are talking out their ass. The episode, they also criticise it in trying too hard to be an allegory for the war in Vietnam, fails to find a peaceful Star Trek solution to the problem. Well, I think that was the whole point of the episode, was not find that peaceful Star Trek solution to the episode, but actually show you the depths of war and what it can be, and the unfortunate role you would end up playing in that scenario. So for me, it actually really worked. Denny Geek ranked Megado the 43rd best alien in Star Trek franchise. 2017 Inverse recommended A Private Little War as essential watching for Star Trek Discovery. And 2018 Collider ranked the episode the 14th best original series episode. In September 2021, the Megado is featured in Megado Gamato, the 4th episode of the 2nd season of Star Trek Lower Decks. That is a series that I have yet to delve into. I've only seen bits and pieces of it. But we will, in due course. Like, eventually, if I can pull my finger out and actually keep up with the upload schedule of this podcast, we could be doing that. But maybe, I was going to say this time next year, maybe pushing it a little bit, but we will eventually, whenever we get into new Star Trek, we will be doing Lower Decks as well. A note here: the Megado was originally named the Gamato, and is shown in such an episode. Let me try that again. The Megado was originally named the Gamato, and is shown as such in the episode's credits. It was renamed due to DeForest Kelly having difficulty pronouncing it. A little bit like me trying to use basic words in this podcast tonight. I need to sleep a little bit better. That's going to do it. For me, a great little episode. I enjoyed this one. Not as well, there's a lot of action in it, but it's not the sort of action that you want, really. It's the episode is designed to feel uncomfortable whenever it comes to the battles. It's again, it's kind of like, you know, when you're talking about the Vietnam War and stuff like that there, and little delving into the dirty side of war and the unfortunate rules that you're going to be playing by and whatnot. It's not meant to sit well with you. Fantastic little episode. So that's just my humble opinion on it. That's going to do it for this episode, guys. I am too tired to keep speaking. I need to lie down before I fall down. Whatever you're doing, I hope you're doing it safely. Check out coinsagemedia.com for everything else we're doing. And stay safe, guys. I will talk to you in the next episode. This has been a production of Coins Age Media. Thank you so much for listening.